Oh, you doing my hair, baby? Chrisean. Family time on New Year's. Say hola. Hola. Chrisean. What's up, yo? Oh, you doing my hair? Oh, thank you for the kisses, Papa. That was so nice.
I'll put the food down.
What you say?
I'll put the food.
He say you want a what?
He wants to put his rainbow on.
Oh, it's rain boots. You want your rain boots? Oh, you understand. Period. W mama.
You're not going to tell me, Chrisean?
Yeah.
Chrisean, right. You're not going to tell me?
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
What is Chrisean saying? With girl, I don't know about that, but I was scared for that lady. Like, girl, she about to run off with your baby daddy. You stupid fool. Now, why the would you take somebody around your baby daddy? She didn't hear about the Cardi B shit. Girl, I don't know. That's not none of my business. I'm gonna stay off of that. But that's how I felt about that. I just said, ooh, he probably already love her. She better watch them toes.
Just when the internet thought this sad was finally cooling off, it detonated like a firework in a quiet living room because, well, everyone else was arguing over holiday leftovers. Chrisean allegedly made a move so bold it had blogs scrambling and timelines gasping for air. Baby Junior spending the holidays with LiAngelo Ball was not on anyone's bingo card. Yet here we are watching chaos unwrap itself like a cursed Christmas gift. Let's be clear, this wasn't just a family visit. This was a headline in human form. This was a decision that felt calculated, symbolic, and just messy enough to break the internet. 1 minute it's silence. The next minute the timeline is screaming, hold on. When did this happen? The kind of plot twist that makes reality TV producers throw their notebooks across the room in jealousy. But the real shockwave didn't come from Chrisean's move. It came from the reaction that followed. Because once Blueface's mom found out, the temperature in the room changed instantly. Her response wasn't quiet, subtle, or polite. It was loud, emotional, and loaded with subtext, and suddenly, this stopped being about a holiday visit. It became about power, boundaries, and who really thinks they're running this never-ending circus. Trust me, you're not ready for what came next. What people have to understand is that this situation didn't magically appear out of thin air like a bad plot twist written by a bored screenwriter. This was brewing quietly, marinating in tension, side eyes, and unresolved beef. For months, Chrisean and Blueface have never operated on normal rules. So, expecting a traditional co-parenting holiday schedule was already wishful thinking. These two turned chaos into a brand long before Junior even entered the picture. And now, the child is unfortunately growing up in the middle of a reality show that never cuts to commercial. From the outside, it looks simple. A mom takes her child somewhere for the holidays. People do that every day. But nothing about this was ever going to be interpreted as simple, because context is everything. This wasn't a quiet family house, tucked away from the noise. This was LiAngelo Ball, a name attached to fame, money, cameras, and a family dynasty that has lived under a microscope for years. Whether intentional or not, the message landed loud. This wasn't just about celebrating Christmas. This felt like positioning. The moment whispers started circulating online, the internet did what it always does. Screenshots flew. Theories multiplied. Everyone suddenly became a body language expert and a legal scholar at the same time. People weren't asking if the visit happened. They were asking why it happened and who it was meant for. Because in this saga, nothing is accidental. Every move feels like it's aimed at someone, even if the target changes depending on the day. The Chrisean supporters immediately jumped in to frame it as independence. They painted it as a woman choosing peace, stability, and a different environment for her child in their version of the story. This was growth. This was her stepping away from toxicity and into something calmer, cleaner, and less chaotic. They argued that a change of scenery isn't a crime, and that people were projecting their own drama onto a mother simply living her life on paper. That argument almost sounds reasonable, which is exactly why it confused people even more. But because then came the other side, the skeptics, the ones who said this wasn't about peace at all. It was about optics. They pointed out the timing, the visibility, and the name attached to the visit. They question why a holiday moment needed to involve someone whose last name alone generates headlines. In their eyes, this wasn't a quiet move. It was a loud one dressed up as normally. And once that narrative took hold, the situation stopped being neutral as the story picked up steam. Attention naturally drifted toward the reaction everyone knew was coming. Blueface's mom had never been shy, subtle, or media-trained. And nobody expected her to suddenly become diplomatic. Now, this is a woman who treats Instagram like a confessional booth with no privacy filter. So, when word reached her, people didn't ask if she would respond. They asked how explosive the response would be. Her reaction didn't disappoint those expectations. It wasn't wrapped in holiday cheer or polite concern. It came across emotional, defensive, and heavy with implication. To her, this wasn't just about Junior visiting someone else. This was about access, influence, and who she felt was being pushed out of the picture. The undertone was clear. She felt blindsided, disrespected, and possibly replaced. And that's where the tension thickened, because when grandparents feel excluded, the situation escalates fast. This wasn't framed as a calm discussion about schedules or boundaries. It felt like a line had been crossed without permission. In her eyes, the visit symbolized a loss of control. And people don't lose control quietly. They lose it publicly, especially when social media is the megaphone. The internet immediately split into camps. Some accused her of overstepping, reminding everyone that she isn't the parent. Others defended her fiercely, arguing that family matters shouldn't be decided unilaterally. They said she had a right to feel away, especially if she believed the move was strategic rather than spontaneous. And just like that, the comment sections turned into war zones disguised as debates. What made everything messier was Blueface's relative silence during the initial wave. That silence wasn't coming. It was gasoline. When someone known for loud reactions suddenly goes quiet, people assume something bigger is happening behind the scenes. Every hour without a response fueled speculation that lawyers were involved, that private arguments were unfolding, or that someone was being advised to sit still while the storm passed. Meanwhile, LiAngelo's name kept floating in the background, like an unanswered question. People weren't necessarily accusing him of anything, but they were curious. Why him? Why now? Why during the most emotionally loaded time of the year? His association alone changed it. Optics, whether fair or not, and once his family name entered the narrative, comparisons followed fast. Suddenly, people were contrasting. Lifestyles, stability, and public images like this was a competition nobody signed up for. At this point, the situation stopped being about one holiday. It became a referendum on everyone involved. Chrisean was judged as a mother. Blueface was judged as a father. His mom was judged as a grandmother, and LiAngelo was judged simply for being present. The pressure multiplied with every post, every reaction video, every think piece disguised as concern. What's important to note is that none of this unfolded privately. There were no closed doors here. Everything happened in front of millions of strangers who felt entitled to opinions because history taught them this family lives out loud. When you invite the public into your chaos long enough, they stop feeling like spectators and start feeling like participants. And that's why this moment hit so hard. It felt like another chapter in a story that refuses to end, just with a new setting and higher stakes. The holidays amplified the emotions, stripped away the filters, and made every reaction feel more intense. What should have been a quiet family decision turned into a cultural moment dissected frame by frame. By the time the dust from the initial reaction settled, one thing was clear: this wasn't going to blow over quietly. Too many egos were bruised. Too many narratives were colliding. And too many people felt like something was being taken from them rather than shared. And if this was just the opening act, the next phase was going to be louder, messier, and impossible to ignore. Because once the internet chooses sides, it never lets go without demanding blood, tears, or at least another viral meltdown. The moment this story crossed from family drama into full-blown internet spectacle was when the mess started multiplying faster than the explanations. Once humor enters a controversy, it stops being private forever. Overnight, timelines were flooded with side-by-sides, sarcastic captions, and exaggerated jokes, treating this holiday visit like the crossover episode nobody asked for. But everyone watched anyway. What should have been a quiet seasonal moment turned into digital theater, complete with commentators, comedians, and armchair psychologists dissecting every possible motive. Social media didn't just react. It rewrote the narrative in real time. Some people framed it like a rom-com gone wrong. Others treated it like a power play straight out of a chess tournament. There were jokes comparing the situation to reality shows where producers clearly interfere. Except this time there were no producers to blame. Every post felt like another log tossed onto the fire, and the flames only climbed higher. Even people who claimed they were tired of the saga couldn't stop refreshing their feeds. Because chaos has a way of pulling attention like gravity. Celebrity reactions, both direct and indirect, added gasoline. Nobody needed to name names for the message to land. Cryptic tweets, vague captions, and suspicious likes were treated like official statements by fans who were already deep in detective mode. A single emoji became evidence. A repost became confirmation. Silence became suspicious in the court of public opinion. Everything meant something, especially when it came from someone famous enough to know exactly how the internet works. The comparisons were relentless. People started stacking lifestyles against each other like it was a scoreboard. Stability versus chaos. Quiet wealth versus loud fame. Privacy versus spectacle. It didn't matter whether these comparisons were fair or accurate. They were entertaining. And entertainment always wins online. The situation was no longer about a child's holiday plans. It was about optics, perception, and who looked like. They had their life together under the harshest spotlight imaginable. Meanwhile, Blueface's mom became a central character whether she wanted to or not. Every reaction she made was analyzed, paused, replayed, and translated into think pieces. Some viewers sympathized with her, saying her emotions felt raw and human, like a grandmother fearing distance and de rigueur. Others accused her of escalating the situation for attention, arguing that public reactions only made things worse. The divide was sharp, and neither side was interested in compromise. The memes didn't spare her either. Comedy pages turned her reactions into punchlines, remixing clips with dramatic music and captions dripping in sarcasm. To some, it was cruel. To others, it was just how the internet processes drama. Once your emotions become content, you lose control over how they're consumed. The internet doesn't do empathy well, but it excels at amplification. Blueface's continued silence only deepened the mystery. People began projecting entire narratives onto his absence, imagining behind-the-scenes arguments, legal conversations, and strategic delays. Some believed he was being advised to stay quiet to avoid making things worse. Others thought he was furious, but choosing not to give the situation oxygen. Either way, the lack of response became louder than any statement could have been. Speculation around LiAngelo intensified as well. Even though he remained mostly out of the spotlight, his name alone carried enough weight to fuel theories. People debated whether he was intentionally stepping into the chaos or simply caught in it. Some framed him as a stabilizing presence, others as an unwitting pawn in a larger game. The truth barely mattered anymore, because perception had already taken over. Pop culture comparisons went wild. Commentators likened the situation to Famous. Celebrity love triangles, messy custody battles, and reality TV feuds that spiraled out of control. Every analogy made the story feel bigger, louder, and more dramatic. People weren't just watching a situation unfold. They were ranking it against past internet meltdowns, arguing about whether this one deserved a spot in the Drama Hall of Fame. Public outrage followed predictably. Some viewers expressed genuine concern for Junior, questioning the long-term impact of growing up in constant controversy. Others dismissed that concern as selective outrage, pointing out that the public had been consuming this family's chaos for entertainment long before drawing moral lines. The hypocrisy accusations flew, and suddenly everyone was being called out for caring too late or caring for the wrong reasons. As the days passed, the narrative kept shifting. One moment Chrisean was painted as reckless, the next she was framed as empowered. One moment, Blueface's mom was seen as protective, the next as intrusive. There were no stable roles, only rotating villains and victims, depending on who was speaking. The lack of clarity ensured the conversation never settled because uncertainty is the internet's favorite fuel. What made this phase especially intense was how self-aware it all became. People openly acknowledged that they were watching a mess, yet continued watching anyway. Jokes were made about needing popcorn, about waiting for the next episode, about how this saga refused to end. When an audience starts treating real people's lives like serialized entertainment, the line between concern and consumption completely disappears. By the time the meme slowed and the reactions looped back on themselves, one thing was obvious. This wasn't just a scandal. It was a spectacle, the kind that feeds on itself, growing louder every time someone tries to explain it away. Every attempt to clarify only created new angles to argue about, new sides to pick, and new reasons to stay invested. And with all this noise swirling, the real consequences were quietly lining up in the background, waiting for their turn because internet storms don't just finish, they leave residue. And the aftermath of this one was already forming. Whether anyone was ready to talk about it or not, when the noise finally started to thin out, what remained wasn't peace, clarity, or resolution. It was residue, the kind of emotional fallout that lingers long after the memes stop trending and the blogs move on to the next scandal. Because while the internet thrives on chaos, the people at the center of it are left to deal with the consequences in real time. And this situation, it didn't end with a post or a reaction. It quietly rewired relationships in ways that won't be undone anytime soon. For Chrisean, the aftermath came with a new layer of scrutiny that went far beyond jokes and hot takes. Every future decision involving Junior is now going to be filtered. Through this moment, what she intended, what she meant, and what she claimed no longer matter as much as how people interpreted it. In the court of public opinion, intent is irrelevant once perception takes over. She became the subject of a narrative that painted her as either fiercely independent or recklessly provocative, depending on who is telling the story. And that duality isn't something you escape easily. Blueface's position grew even more complicated. Silence can be strategic, but it can also become suffocating. The longer he stayed quiet, the more people filled in the blanks for him, often in ways that didn't favor anyone involved. Questions about his role as a father resurface, louder than before. And whether fair or not, the public began treating his absence from the conversation as a statement in itself. When someone known for volatility chooses restraint, it doesn't calm the audience, it unsettles them. For his mother, the aftermath hit differently. Her reaction may have sparked the fire. But the long-term effect was a shift in how she's perceived publicly. To some, she became the voice of a grandmother feeling pushed aside. To others, she solidified her reputation as someone who escalates private matters into public chaos. Either way, the image stack. Once the internet assigns you a role, it expects you to keep playing it even when the cameras aren't rolling. The most uncomfortable truth is that Junior, the person at the center of all this attention, became a symbol. Instead of a child, he was used as a talking point, a moral argument upon in debates about parenting, control, and responsibility. That shift alone changed the tone of the entire saga. What began as gossip transformed into a conversation people pretended was about concern, even though it was still being consumed as entertainment. Relationships don't survive moments like this unchanged. Trust eroded quietly, replaced by second-guessing and guarded decisions. Every future interaction now carries the weight of public reaction. Holidays won't just be holidays anymore. There'll be potential flashpoints. Birthdays won't be private. There'll be content risks. The personal becomes strategic when millions are watching. Public perception also reshaped the power dynamics. Chrisean gained supporters who rallied behind her autonomy, but she also gained critics who now watch closely, waiting for the next misstep. Blueface's mom gained attention. But attention isn't the same as influence. And sometimes it comes with a cost. Blueface himself remained an unanswered question, a blank space people keep trying to fill with speculation. What makes this saga particularly unsettling is how normal it's become. The audience isn't shocked anymore. They're conditioned. Another argument, another reaction, another viral clip. It all blends together into an ongoing loop where escalation feels inevitable. Calm moments don't trend, but breakdowns do, and everyone involved knows it, whether they admit it or not. This moment also reinforced a harsh reality about modern fame. Once your personal life becomes public currency, you lose control over the narrative. Privacy stops being a right and starts feeling like a privilege you can't afford. Every decision becomes content. Every reaction becomes evidence. And every silence becomes suspicious. As the dust settles, nothing feels resolved. There's no apology tour, no group photos signaling unity, no clear statement tying everything up neatly. Just distance, lingering tension, and the understanding that this wasn't an ending. It was a transition, a shift into a new phase where the stakes are higher and the margin for error is thinner. And that's the part people should really pay attention to. Not the mess, not the jokes, not the reactions, but the fact that this story didn't close a chapter, it opened another one. One that's quieter on the surface, but heavier underneath. Because if history has taught us anything, it's that this saga never truly rests. It pauses, it recalibrates, and then it comes back louder, messier, and more explosive than before. And when it does, the internet will be ready. Alright, now, before you scroll away pretending this didn't just eat up your entire attention span, let's be honest with each other for a second. If you made it this far, you're already invested. You felt the tension. You saw the chess moves. You watched the chaos unfold like a slow-motion car crash you absolutely could not look away from. So, don't act brand new. Now, if this story had you shaking your head, laughing in disbelief, or yelling "this is insane" at your screen,
Do what the internet gods demand.
smash that like button like it owes you money, and just try to dodge the bill. Let's tell the algorithm this mess deserves to live forever. And trust me, this story isn't done yet. Now jump into the comments, because I already know opinions are fighting in your head right now.
Your head right now.
Was this a calculated move, or just another chaotic chapter? Did emotions get crossed, boundaries ignored, or narratives weaponized? Drop your take below, because the comment section is where the real unfiltered drama lives. And some of y'all have takes wilder than the headlines themselves. And if you're new here, stop looking. Hit that subscribe button like it's a survival instinct. This channel doesn't miss when scandals break, timelines explode, or celebrity chaos spills into public view. While other channels show up late with watered-down takes, we're already 3 steps ahead, breaking it down with zero sugarcoating. Turn on notifications too, because scandals don't send calendar invites. They drop randomly, loudly, and usually at the worst possible time. And when they do, you'll want to be first, not confused in the comments asking what happened. This is by Crave, where drama doesn't sleep, chaos doesn't apologize, and the internet never forgets. And trust me, this story, it's not over. It's just catching its breath.